All right. Who called me? Hey, who was it?
You have been summoned to answer for your crimes.
Not this again. Are you serious? And who is going to summon me? Who has the right to summon me?
The Almighty God.
Oh, really? Quite taken with yourself, aren't you? Well, what is it I'm supposed to have done this time? Honestly, you blame me for everything that goes on.
Stand before the court and give your testimony.
Oh yes, by all means. For what?
Your crimes against humanity.
Humanity? Then? You must be daft. How in the world are you going to blame this state on me? Pushing them off on me? You created them, you fixed them. I thought they were a bad idea from the get-go. And what, pray tell, have I supposedly done there?
Sin, degradation, death.
You must be daft. What? You created them, and at first they weren't even aware there is sin. They didn't know degradation until you brought it up in the garden, and death, well, that's the only thing that makes them interesting, isn't it? That they live and that they die. How are you pinning all this lot on me? Hello? Father? Well, it's like that then. All right, let's get on with it. Call him who is supposed to have been my accuser and who is supposed to be my jury.
Them.
What for both? Accuser and jury? Leave off. They can't possibly be both, these small-minded little things who think that they are the center of the universe. What visions of grandeur? They're too stupid to be my jury. No offense. I'll put it in terms that you can understand. When Job confronted you, your response was, where were you when I created the earth? Well, where were your precious pets when you created me? When the stars and the planets burst into existence, I was there. Quite the light show. But now you want your prized guinea pigs to judge me? I'm not having it. Have one of my brothers, Gabriel or Michael, judge me. They were there. They were at creation. They know the way of things. But not this livestock. Honestly, they know nothing of heaven and earth, constantly thinking that they are the reason for creation. And yet, every day they find a new planet or a new star in their little looking glasses. Their universe grows more immense every second. And yet, what hubris. They are to believe anything other than how infinitesimally small and irrelevant they are.
It has been decided. They are your jury. Give your testimony.
Brilliant. I can't tell you how happy I am. How can they judge someone from heaven? I mean, they have no concept. They really don't. They don't even know their own piddly world. How would they know heaven? Look, they think it's all singing praises day in and day out forever. Now, mind you, they can't stand and sing in their own churches for more than an hour, but they somehow think that they'll be able to do it for years and years on end and be happy in heaven doing it. It's just pathological. And the one thing that they do like to do, sex, they don't think goes on in heaven at all. This is the height of their arrogance, isn't it? The idea that what they do down here is somehow so fantastic and earth-shaking that they alone could be the ones doing it. And that in heaven we wouldn't have anything like that. Honestly, it's crazy. Setting aside the asinine faces you people make mid-coitus. There is the sheer hypocrisy of loving how this feels down here, and the idea that you would make it to heaven and have none of it, and enjoy having none of it. Honestly, it's just mental. Sing me a hymn about that one. I mean, you people have sex for a few minutes, maybe an hour. Those ethereal porn stars you are. Meanwhile, We can go for weeks and months at the height of sexual prowess. You lemmings have no idea. Yet you're going to judge a celestial being. All right, I'll plead my case to the jury of my accusers, but first, let's find out who has really caused all the devilry and suffering in the world that gets blamed on the defendant. Let's start with the Garden of Eden. We have 2 kids, 2 sweet, stupid little virgins romping around innocently, at first at least. And here comes God and he says, over there, you see that tree? Can't have anything from that tree. Everything else you can have. Now, anyone here who has children will tell you the moment you say something like that, that is the first thing a child wants, isn't it? But we're supposed to worship a being that sets up these mindless dolls, tells them the best temptation story ever, and then throws a tantrum the moment they eat from the tree. And then act as if I created temptation. You pigs. I don't create. Ever. I don't create things. I suggest alternative perspectives, new ways of thinking. I didn't set this temptation chamber up, he did. It's right there in the book, on those pages. And suddenly, here you are, walking away, feeling stupid and sinful for the first time, having eaten the apple. And you know it now, because it's the tree of knowledge. You know for a fact that you're dumb and imperfect. How nice. But this is the first problem, isn't it? They know now what naked is, and they think it's bad. This is something of his creation, not mine. I'm a fan of nakedness in general. But mind, you don't want to sweep the whole nakedness thing under the rug, but it is a little oversold down here, if you ask me. And you people think you're all that without your clothes on, strutting around, acting self-important. Personally, not a big fan of clothes. But you lot aren't a pleasure cruise to look at, with or without your clothes on, if you ask me. But it's the theology of nakedness that gets me. The idea that naked equals bad that bothers me. Why create them naked if the first thing you do is make them feel bad about it? And again, the most important fact of the day, how is any of this my fault? I didn't make you. I didn't say, here, put your naughty bits under a rag. I didn't do that. I didn't do shite. That was his tree, remember? His tree. But suddenly, I'm to blame for everything. Now, I'm the one that talks her into it. And let me tell you, that wasn't a difficult conversation to have. Here, love, if you want something fun to do with your new fun parts, take a chomp on this apple. And then suddenly she discovered sin because of me. That everything that they had been doing previously, like rabbits, mind you, was suddenly wrong. Honestly, they weren't doing it that well to begin with, but to suddenly say that what they are doing is wrong seems a little bit mean. So is it the naked that's wrong, the knowing it that's wrong, or the doing it that's wrong? Or is it just wrong to like it? Doesn't matter. The way you lot do it, it is just plain wrong. So in answer to your question, I did not create sin. I am not a creator. That has always been the confusion. He is the creator. I just look at things differently. Honestly, he's the one that wants you to be perfect, not me. I love your imperfections. Your imperfections are what makes you so interesting. You know, he created you imperfect. Yes, that's why he hates you and punishes you for it. I get your imperfections. And I celebrate all the options that gives you. Hell, I celebrate so much I'm damn near a fan.
Objection.
For what?
Blaspheming the Almighty.
Notice that he doesn't disagree. He just says that I can't bring it up. That's a clever way of making sure that I'm the one who's found guilty, don't you think? Why not blame how the cake tastes on the cook, not the one serving it up? That's me, your humble waiter, Lucifer. But what I realize as I look into your vapid faces is that it won't be enough to prove to you that I just can't be the originator of sin. I've got to prove it to you some other way, mustn't I? Well, it's in the book. That should be enough, shouldn't it? Well, how about that? Now, I can't possibly be the originator of sin. After that, I would say, so, all I said was, have a bite of the sin that he created. He created. So sin is off the table, right?
Degradation.
Degradation. Of course. You're going to have to find another culprit for that one too, otherwise you're going to find me guilty, seeing as I'm the only one being accused. So that's what I'll do. I'll pick up our story from the Garden of Eden with those two little virgins romping around. Now let's move on to Noah, that drunken sot. What a winner! He was hammered out of his gourd most of the time, always playing with his giblets around people. And he's going to save the planet with an ark. And what does he do with it? Well, let's take a look at that. He puts everything under the sun on that ark, including hundreds of thousands of biting flies, mosquitoes, lice, ticks, bedbugs. Geez, thank you, Noah. What a piece of work. All this damned disease and death and degradation, not my fault. That was all Noah. He all puts it on his little boat, and yet suddenly I'm to blame for it? Not. No, I refuse. I didn't create life's degrading maladies, did I? Now I've been at this long enough to know that just proclaiming my innocence will never be enough for you old monkeys. I must show you who the real villain is, mustn't I? And even though I will, I'll have to drag you kicking and screaming to the only logical conclusion there is. Now my first piece of evidence that will be offered and attested, which is apparently the only witness I'm allowed to call. Let me phrase it as a question to you. Who created the earth?
God.
Yes, good. Okay, all together. 1, 2, 3.
God.
Did. That's right. He did it, not me, him. And with it, he created Ebola, the plague, personal favorite of mine, hookworms, amoebas for dysentery. And honestly, could we have just done without some tapeworms? Could he have just left out some of this and still let the earth spin? I think so. So why didn't he? Well, that's easy. He's the degradation. He tortures you. He hates you, and you dribble on and on with praise for him. Oh no, evil Satan, you hate us and he really loves us. Really? How he torments you with chiggers and ticks and say flies, to the point that the quick death of a black mamba seems high. And yet I'm the bad guy. An even moron could tell you, if he wanted to limit the population, why create so many? Or make their deaths so cruel? Why? Because he likes torturing you.
Objection!
All I ever have done is point out how fun life and sex and violence are. He made them, not me. Not bad old Satan. Come on, how would you like to spend the night? Sexting and texting? Or singing hymns about how much you love Lord? He loves you too, right? Supposedly. Well, especially the poor and the weak, right? What serious dementia you people have. He created the universe, but he loves the poor and the weak. He obviously hates them. Again, I can prove it to you. The only way to make them better, have them no longer be poor and weak. Money and strength are the only cures, which he denies them. He does. And let's be honest, you do too. Don't be shrinking violets, you're as good as he is at this part, especially all of you Christians with your puffed up sanctimonious attitudes. You could fix the poverty, but you won't. Why should you? I mean, it's so much effort, and it would get in the way of you having more things. Maybe if you had to give it to the poor. Now, again, I should take some credit for greed and avarice and sloth. A few of my favorite minions. But then again, I don't set them on you. I merely make them available to you, and you gobble them up like Christmas dinner. Especially Christians, my lord, you all talk a big game, but you're some of my favorite evil. In fact, you can think of it as sort of an evil bank, using the original sins that God gave me, and mind you, only 7 of them, to let you little evil entrepreneurs get started on a world. What wankers you are. That's degradation. Now let's move on to the worst of sins. Thou shalt not kill. And talk about a short list of the times that God broke his own rule or had one of his previous pets do. I mean, it is absurd. We have dozens of times. Now who have I killed? Go on. Well, you can't. Because aside from torturing Job a bit, I can't kill him. Now, I may throw around a suggestion now and again, but it's God's angel of death that takes him when he is ready. Not that I want you little humans to feel like you aren't up to snuff. My goodness, what killing machines we are. Millions of Native Americans, millions of African slaves, as well as the theft and torture of every nation you encounter. My sweet, holy Christian Americans, what a tin of beans you are. Not that you're the only ones. Japanese killing Chinese, Hindus killing Muslims, Belgians killing Congolese, Nazis killing Jews, Europeans killing, well, everybody. And despite what the Rolling Stones think, I had no part in the Blitzkrieg or the death camps or the purges. It was all you. And didn't you revel in it? I must admit I was a little surprised there. I was a little afraid that you weren't going to need me anymore. You got so good at killing.
Objection. Argumentative.
Please. How is that argumentative? They are quite good. Credit where credit's due. Are you trying to say that they aren't killers? No, I didn't think so. So with all the deaths and the killing tally, we have God with millions, you primate disappointments with hundreds of millions, and your friend Lucifer here with none. Ever. So how can I be responsible for death? I can't, can I? Am I done here?
Degradation.
I thought I disposed of that one a while ago. No. Of course, now I'm supposed to be degrading. How am I doing this? Eh?
Through all of your blasphemy and trickery.
Trickery? I never. I am the most straightforward angel of them all. I tell them all from the outset. Here is lust, greed, anger, envy, sloth. I don't obscure them. I advertise them. These tailless lemurs don't need an instruction manual. They know how to be angry and lustful and envious. All I do is make these options available. Now, why do I do this? Because they are fun. Lots of fun. You piteous apes wouldn't do them if they weren't, would you? He's just mad because he is bored. Prayer all day and singing his terrible songs.
Blasphemer!
What? No constructive criticism allowed? Just praise and love and nothing else. Is that why I'm a blasphemer? Because I can think of alternatives? Maybe I am a blasphemer. Maybe I like my opinion over the just one opinion about the universe. But you still haven't presented any evidence of degradation. It is my learned opinion that they are self-degrading. Again, I never grabbed one and painted latex on them and put dildos up their nether regions against their will. All I ever said was, would that fit in there? Honestly, how is that degrading? If you're happy it fits in there, and I am happy for you, for it fitting in there, how is that degrading? I think that it's him that makes you feel bad. He wants you to feel degraded so you feel like you need him. Eh? It's like an abusive relationship. He controls you and makes you feel fat, but then you need him to feel pretty, right? He's a nerve. Will it help you if I tell you you're pretty? No? Well, then realize you are in a Stockholm syndrome. You are reliant on him to tell you you are pretty, and he will never do it. I will. You're pretty. No, but you're just Satan. We want God's approval. Well, then realize that that's not degradation. It's that you're codependent. You don't want me, at least not out here in public, right? You just want him. That's why you feel degraded. It's not me. No input up there? Didn't think so. Well, here we are. My jury. We have gone through sin, degradation, and death, and it's God 0, Satan 3. No proof. Although I expect you chatty gibbons to play fair. What are we to do? Now, I'm never going to accept the judgment of you house pets, living in the Ozarks of a forgettable little galaxy on the wrong side of the universe, where you think you could ever judge me. The new pack of abused spouses won't turn on him because you think he's finally going to love you and give you that ticket to La La Land.
You will accept God's judgment.
Oh, will I? And what will you do if I don't? Send me back to hell? In there. Want it back? No? Well, then realize, Dad, that you can put this charge on my bill of everything that goes wrong in the universe. As for you, Bob, when you're tired of groveling and feeling bad for the way that you were made, when you finally realize that you are all just tiny, broken little things, come find me. You know where I can be found.